Hello, welcome back. My name is Elizabeth. This is my channel Stitches with Love, where I share all about my knitting adventures both on and off the needles. So if you are interested in what we're talking about today, come along with me. I have here a stack of knitting magazines that I have collected over the years. All of them have been free, secondhand sources, fellow knitters, things I've picked up from secondhand shops. Some of them I'm not really sure where they came from, excuse me, but I thought it would be really fun to go through and look at my knitting magazines and just start thinking about my next couple of sweaters that I'd like to knit. We are not too far from sweater season here in the Pacific Northwest, and so since we spend most of our climate kind of cool and rainy, I decided that I need a few more sweaters in my closet, since what I have are either no longer well-fitting or they're worn out or whatever. But really, who needs a reason to knit a new sweater or five? So if you're interested, we're going to look at the patterns that I have picked out that I decided are my top picks and see if maybe we can figure out what my next project is going to be. So come along. All right, so the first pattern I'm going to show you today is actually not from a knitting magazine. It's one that I pulled off of Ravelry. It's a free pattern. I'm not really sure of the designer name. I don't know that it even says actually. I have not seen a designer name on here. Yeoda Wool? I'm not really even sure how to pronounce this word. But this is the after school sweater. I don't know how well you can see that. And what appealed to me is that these cables here on the sleeve and up here in the front look very much like a sweater I already own that was hand knit by somebody. Actually, if you're interested, just because I think it's kind of an interesting story. So where I work at a retirement community, we have a small secondhand shop, and quite often when residents die or they move out or whatever the situation is, there are things that are donated just like any other secondhand shop. And one of the residents who is no longer with us, her family donated several of her hand knit sweaters. She was a very, very good knitter, very talented. All of her work was beautiful. And so I bought this sweater that looks very much like this one. And it's so cozy and warm, and I love the pattern. And I've often thought, how fun would it be to try and recreate that sweater so that it fits me a little bit better. And I can start over with something fresh and have a lot more life left in it. So when I came across this pattern kind of accidentally, I wasn't really looking for a pattern at the time that looks like what I have. I found this and I thought, oh my goodness, that's exactly what I want. So this is done up in, I think, a worsted weight wool. I've got a pretty good idea of what color I'm going to use. Let's see. Does it say? Yes. So worsted weight wool, bigger needles. So it shouldn't take too long, really. And it just looks really cozy. So I will sort of be recreating that sweater that I purchased secondhand, but with a new pattern and a new color, and we'll see how that goes. So that's the first pattern. You can find it on Ravelry. It's called the After School Sweater. I don't know the name of the designer, and I don't know how to pronounce this word up here. It's spelled Y-E-O-D-A-W-O-O-L. I don't know how to say it. All right, so that's my first pattern. My second one Actually, I have a couple in this magazine. So this is an old magazine. This is Family Circle from, I don't even know if there's a date on here actually. 1984 is the copyright. It was put out by the Boy Needle Company. This is volume 10, number 6, if you're interested in old crafty magazines and all things vintage. But in this magazine, there were a couple of men's sweaters. I like this one here, that beautiful blue and white color work sweater. And I also like the one next to it with that lovely cable. This one here. This sweater. I think either one of those or maybe both of them I would really like to knit. And I'm thinking at least one of them would be for my husband and maybe another one for my dad. I'm not sure. I wanted to make Alex, that's my husband, another sweater since I finished his most recent one. But I also really want to make one for my dad, and I'm not sure between the two which one I like best. I think for both of them, both would look good in this one. But I kind of like the look of the cable. I might have to just make both and see what happens. So that's Family Circle magazine, 1984. This was put out before I was even born. But the patterns are so cool. So those are my next two sweaters I'm interested in making. The next one that I really liked comes from Love of Knitting, Spring 2016. This is the cover, and this is the pattern I'm really interested in. I like the very simple top, and then the pattern here, it's kind of a lacy, it just looks like it would be a nice cool top for spring or summer. This is called the Tea Time Top. And the yarn that was used is merino, alpaca, and silk, which sounds absolutely heavenly to work with. Now that I'm looking at it a second time, I don't know if I love this top as much. So that's a maybe I'll make. We'll see. I don't know. This is another lightweight, kind of springy, summery top. I don't know why I want to make those so much, because I'm not really loving the idea of wearing a knitted top that isn't a sweater. But I thought this was really pretty, and so it's another maybe. I love the front kind of open work panel. This is also from Love of Knitting, and this is summer 2016. This is the Canyon Lace Tank, and I think if it were done in a really lightweight cotton, it might be okay. I don't know. In general, I'm not a huge fan of pullovers, although I do love a good pullover sweater. So that's gonna go in my maybe I'll make this, maybe I won't pile. All right, the next sweater is from Interweave Knits, which to me just seems like kind of a high-end, yet still somehow attainable knitwear magazine. This is from spring of 2019, Interweave Knits. They have great patterns. They just, most of them aren't really what I'm interested in. And this is the sweater I want to knit. This is called the Verbena sweater. Here's another look at the front. It just looks really warm and cozy. I like this sort of textured, it almost looks like a cable or maybe a mock cable, but it also looks very cozy. There's another picture of it in here that I really loved, and I forgot to mark it. Here we go. But it's got pockets, and really any sweater with pockets, oh, you can't probably see that very well. Any sweater with pockets right there is an automatic interest to me. But it just looks like it would wear very comfortably, it's got buttons, and I do prefer my cardigans to have a button band rather than just open. So that's the Verbena sweater from Interweave Knits, spring of 2019. I think it's also done in a worsted weight. It's done in yarn weight size 5, which I think is actually a bulky yarn. So that would work really well for the climate where I live, because you could do that like autumn all the way through springtime without getting too warm. So I really like that one. And then the last one, I've been having my eye on this sweater for a long time. This is from Creative Knitting Magazine from November of 2009. But look at that beautiful sweater. I even like the color, although I don't want to knit mine in blue. Here's another picture. This is called the Starry Night. It's knit up in a sparkly worsted weight yarn. I really like the cable and lace pattern. It doesn't show up real well on camera, but it's made up in a worsted weight yarn. I've already got a pretty good idea what color I'm going to do this one in. I'm thinking kind of a creamy gold sparkly yarn. I just think that would look really beautiful, and I want something that looks sort of festive and autumny that could go into Christmas. I don't know, I just think it'd be really beautiful. So that is the Starry Night sweater from Creative Knitting 2009, and we'll see. There are some definite sweater patterns in these magazines I plan to knit. There's a few I'm not sure I'm going to, but I like the idea of them. So I think I'm going to finish my cup of tea here and do a little more knitting. I'm almost done with the first leg warmer for my niece. I'm at the top cuff, and then I can get the second one started. I also started the second sock of a set I'm making for my oldest, Michael Jefferson, and I'm really excited to get those finished. And I think that's all I've got for you today. I'm gonna wrap it up, and until next time, happy making. Bye.